Hello everyone and welcome to the third in a series of videos that deal with AQA GCSE English Language, Paper 1, Question 5, Creative Imaginative Writing based around a panoramic picture of the Southwark Fair. Please make sure you have watched the first two video lessons in this series, otherwise the things discussed in this lesson won't make complete sense. Okay, with that in mind, from this point I am going to assume that you have at least watched the first and second video, if not participated in the activities within it, and therefore you should remember that we are working from and writing a description of a busy fair based upon a picture of one drawn in the 18th century called Southwark Fair. In video and lesson 1 you were introduced to the Cctv and pile methods of creative writing, and tasked with writing your own description of the picture using these techniques. Then, in the second video, you were shown a model answer and shown how to enhance your vocabulary, looking for synonyms for the words that appeared in the model, before being shown how you can make simple improvements to the big picture, or TBP, to help you achieve a high grade response, changing out bland words for more impressive ones and starting to use adverbial phrases and a range of punctuation to really lift your work above the average. You will remember that the creative descriptive writing task, which is question 5 of paper 1 of the AQA syllabus, assesses you on the following assessment objectives. A05, communicate clearly, effectively and imaginatively, selecting and adapting tone, style and register for different forms, purposes and audiences. Organise information and ideas using structural and grammatical features to support coherence and cohesion of text. And A06, use a range of vocabulary and sentence structures for clarity, purpose and effect, with accurate spelling and punctuation. Now I'm not going to reread my model response to you, as this will take up valuable time. Instead I will assume you are familiar with it, having watched the second video in this series. Should you need a recap, please feel free to watch the Southwark Fair model answer video, where the answer is read in its entirety and without interruption. So having completed our first paragraph, the big picture, or TBP, we are now going to focus on the first main paragraph of the response and look at how to complete the zoom, focus and zoom out steps required in this paragraph. With that in mind, today's learning question is: can I improve upon my first main paragraph of my creative writing response to the Southwark Fair picture, developing the zoom in, focus and zoom out aspects of my paragraph? Before we continue, I want you to look up the definitions of and find at least one synonym for the following words. You can download the task sheet and type right onto this, or you could just write these definitions in your notebook. You have 10 minutes to do this. Now that you've completed this task, you should have a group of words, definitions and synonyms that look something like this. Remember that in order to create a decent piece of creative writing, two good methods and techniques you can use include the Cctv and PAL methods. The Cctv method is broken down like this. TBP, the big picture. Set the big picture in your opening paragraph. This is the introduction to what you're going to focus on. Then you zoom in on a particular object or thing in the picture and begin describing it in general terms. Focus on a smaller detail on the thing you have zoomed in on and describe this in more detail. Zoom out, adding a linking sentence where you mention something else that you are going to describe before following the zoom in, focus and zoom out steps again in the next paragraph. Whereas the PAL method is the use of prepositions, words such as under, over, beneath, above, in, used to introduce the thing you are going to discuss in more detail in your sentences and paragraph. ing ending words, words such as becoming, understanding, beckoning, again used to introduce the thing you are going to discuss in more detail in your sentences and paragraph, but in a less pedestrian way. For example, instead of saying the boy wanted to know what was in the open box, using an ing, opening word, you could say, beckoning the boy the half-open box with the torn flap and strictly confidential stamped on the side, enticed him to break the rules, bite into the forbidden fruit, and examine the box in more detail. ly ending words, words such as quickly, strongly, rapidly, hungrily, and stupidly. And finally, ed ending words. These are words such as finished, started, lasted and blasted. Now, let's see if I have effectively used the Cctv and PAL methods to enhance my writing in my first main paragraph after the big picture. Here is the picture and the question again. Write a description suggested by the picture. Here is the big picture, or TBP, paragraph we worked on last lesson. And here is the paragraph we are working on today. It is against this backdrop that a crowd amasses here today, marching like ants in unison from the neighbouring terraces, alleys and public houses. However, as soon as they arrive at the fair's location, all sense of discipline and thereby commonality with ants is lost as chaotically every individual scatters around the various exhibits, whooping, shouting and barging. Once again, this paragraph might seem a little daunting at first, but hopefully you will remember from the last time that once you applied the techniques learnt in the first and second lessons and really started engaging with AO6, enhancing your spelling, punctuation, grammar, it actually isn't that difficult at all to create a piece of writing of similar quality. You will remember that last time I said the best way to think about writing in this style is to imagine you are a CCTV operator. So I'm going to go behind the camera right now and start positioning the camera lens and thereby controlling what I and you can see. As this paragraph is relatively short, I haven't focused in on any particular aspect of the picture, but I have partially zoomed in on the crowd of people and zoomed out or concluded the paragraph, introducing an aspect of what the crowd is doing in the next. I've also used PAL techniques quite a bit. In the first part of the first sentence of this paragraph, I've zoomed in on the crowd. Obviously the whole picture is crowded with people, but as the topic sentence, this tells the reader that in this paragraph we are going to be talking about the crowd and it therefore focuses their attention. The second half of this sentence shows things that are not actually happening in the picture itself, as it is clear to the reader, the examiner, that nobody is marching like ants to the fair. The reader might question this, but then their apprehension or doubt is answered in the following sentence when I focused on what the people are doing at that point in time at which the picture was drawn. As such, the final sentence is reflective of what is going on in the picture. There is a big crowd and it looks rowdy. The reader or viewer of the picture could easily imagine the shouting, barging and whooping as they individually rush around the various parts of the fair. So in this short paragraph, I have zoomed in on the crowd, highlighted their behaviour by contrasting what they were doing on the way to the fair with how they are behaving now in the picture, This could be considered the focus section of the paragraph, but usually a focus would involve a small area of the picture, not a great number of people. And then I've concluded my paragraph and zoomed out by stating what they were doing now. This then sets the scene for the next paragraph about the boxing ring and fight build-up, which is also quite chaotic, but we will talk more about that later. Again, the reason this paragraph could be considered good is not because of what has been written, but the way it has been written. A grade 4 or 5 response could easily be written like this. There is a big crowd at the fair. All the people have walked sensibly from their houses, but now they are being noisy and running around. However, by combining pile and Cctv methods, playing with the tense of the writing, and using similes, perhaps you can see how easy it is to improve this writing dramatically. It is against this backdrop that a crowd amasses here today, marching like ants in unison from the neighbouring terraces, alleys and public houses. However, as soon as they arrive at the fair's location, all sense of discipline and thereby commonality with ants is lost, as chaotically every individual scatters around the various exhibits, whooping, shouting and barging. The whole paragraph is written in present, continuous tense, making it seem that the action is unfolding in front of the reader's eyes at the present moment, not in the past and not in the future. This makes the reader feel engaged in the action. It is relevant to them. They are there. A common simile is used to demonstrate to the reader how ordered the people travelling to the fair were compared to how they are once they arrive. One of the key phrases in the mark scheme is sustained crafting of linguistic devices. Now, crafting means that you have not only used a linguistic device like a simile, but the simile you have chosen has been designed to have a deliberate effect on the reader. The difference can be exemplified like this. If you could drive to school in a Ford Fiesta or a Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, most people would choose the Rolls-Royce. Why? Because even though both cars will get you there and you will make the same journey on the same roads, the Rolls-Royce will make you feel or think in a certain way. Much more money and time has been spent designing the car to make you feel this way. Much less time and money has been spent on the Fiesta. The same is true of the simile used here. Most people know that ants are compared to soldiers. In fact, some ants are called soldier ants. All soldiers march in ordered lines and most people know that. Therefore, by saying that the people are marching like ants in unison, puts a very distinct image in the reader's head. That simile has been crafted. It is a Rolls-Royce simile. A Fiesta simile might be, a crowd amasses here today like a bunch of ants. Here the crowd has been compared to ants, but not enough added detail has been included, and the meaning hasn't been crafted. The effect is less striking, and therefore the marks awarded for this would be less. Now it's your turn to use some pile words to develop a different but equally good paragraph as the one produced above. Using the words at the bottom of the screen, fill in the blanks in the paragraph below. You have 5 minutes. Hopefully now you are continuing to see how changing the order of words or the vocabulary you use with the pile method and combining this with the Cctv technique of creative writing enables you to develop a response that should easily achieve a higher grade. Next lesson we will continue to focus on these skills, but also see how the concluding sentence or sentences in one paragraph, the zoom out section, help to introduce the reader to the action in the next paragraph, the zoom in section. It is essential that you learn to do this so that you can demonstrate fluently linked paragraphs with seamlessly integrated discourse markers. Thanks again for watching our video. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, and please do check out our website checkmatetutors.co.uk for more educational lessons and resources. Goodbye for now.